I don't know, it would be very hard to ban that. I mean, it's, you know, it's not right to do that. What is very important and what's good about the New York City system is that we require disclosure of that. And so you have to, I collect, you know, I accept, $100,000 in contributions from one person has bundled them for me. I have to disclose that, which contributions were bundled by them, who that was, and what contributions were bundled by that person. And now the City Council has just made a slight change to the definition. It's in the law, it's called intermediaries. Made a slight change to the definition that makes it more expansive. This is a change that the board for many years has been recommending, and a lot of the good government in New York City have been recommending, is that if you have reason to know that person, because, you know, kind of, you know, if you didn't really, it was always that I solicited and delivered them to you. That was the standard before the definition. So if I collected them and brought them to you, if I told, you know, 100 of my friends, send a contribution to this person, and even if the candidate knew full well that, you know, I had told those 100 people, they could say, well, no, they didn't deliver them to me, they came in the mail individually, and I don't have to report that person as an intermediary, although some candidates do, you know, voluntarily do consider that. But now they've changed the law so that you actually are required to report when you know that someone has done that kind of solicitation.
So any sense of the relative size of bundle versus real individual?
There are, in New York City, it's not, and I have to look in our report, but I think that it's not, there's not a huge number of bundled contributions, but I think it's because of this little loophole in the law, you know, so, but I mean, it's not as important, I think, or hasn't been as important as it has been in federal and other elections, but I think that's changing, because we see the fundraising solicitations from people, and you can see, you know, that is now a strategy, you know, on the city level to kind of, you know, have people, you know, have an appellation level, raise or something like that, and try to get more people to collect it. It hasn't been such a big phenomenon in the past.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of money going in, and I'm curious, sort of sense or feel counterbalancing efforts of organizations like Common Cause, National Wildlife, that sort of thing. Because obviously they don't have the same budgets, large dollars, that all the special interests have. So is there what is the proportion of the impact, so to speak, versus the budget? Obviously, you know, that's a big delta there.
I can talk to that. I've been doing this for the league for over a quarter of a century. We'll kind of leave it at that. And we have had some good accomplishments, more this year and the last few years than maybe for the decade before. But we do it, obviously, I am a volunteer. I work 40 hours a week as a volunteer. Everybody else in my organization, except for paid staff in the office, 2.5 of them, are volunteers. Common Cause has a very small staff. NYPIR, New York Public Interest Research, student organization, they have a small staff. So how do we accomplish the advancements in reform that we've been able to accomplish? Obviously, we don't give campaign contributions at all. We do not give lobbying contributions. We do it essentially by raising the consciousness of the public, and there's a term for this, and shaming legislators into doing the right thing.
Is that
now
a
you
legal
say,
term? Is that a legal term?
is that yes? That's the lobbying and quasi legal term, shame, and we do that by using the editorial boards of papers, by bringing to light, and I don't remember who Michael might know, who the public official or founder that said sunlight and sunshine is the best disinfectant. What are the academics?
Brandeis.
Justice Brandeis, okay, one of our justices of the Supreme Court. And that is absolutely what we do. We bring to light, and in New York State, that's really not hard. We do have enough scandal in New York State that we can accomplish
Shock.
shame, shock, and
Shock.
shame, yes. And editorial boards help a great deal. And I have a large membership throughout the state with 60 local leagues and all of the communities out there. These are, some of them are sitting over there. And they motivate within their own communities, raise the consciousness with information we send out, and people get irritated when they think they're being had. And most people, when it comes to campaign finance reform, lobbying reform, they really think they're being had. And their issues, be they the bread and butter issues that people live by, what's going on in my property taxes? What kind of health care am I getting? What kind of education are my kids getting? What kind of energy and how much money is coming in and on, all kinds of things. What kind of bills am I paying? Those are the things that impact people's lives and make them angry. And do we feed on that and we try and raise the consciousness of why those bills are the way they are in relationship to the campaign finance? And we are to a degree successful in that. It doesn't come easily, it sometimes doesn't come often. But that's how and in the halls of the legislature, at least in the last 4 or 5 years, every legislator there wants to be a reformer because they know that the public thinks that that's the right way to run a government. And that's what we feed on.
In terms of the amount of budget to the dollar, what kind of access does these organizations
The
have?
League, Common Cause. With Mr. I will be, I'm going to be very blunt. With Mr. Pataki, we had limited access. He had us in to talk about a campaign finance reform bill in 1999, and he wanted us to stand with him at the day before the session ended on this reform measure. And Blair Horner, who was the previous executive director of NYPIRG, and Common Cause, and the three of us were in the room, and we kind of said, in the few minutes we had before the governor joined us, was, okay, how are we going to play this? And we decided one of us would be the good cop and the bad cop. And it was my job to be the bad cop this time. And so we raised questions like, first of all, our boards had not seen this language, and were we going to be able to have time to actually see what this language was? No, that wasn't going to be permitted. We had to make a decision. So we asked some questions, and I said, okay, Governor, what is your intent after this press conference? We go out, tomorrow will be the last day of session. Could you just answer a few questions for us? One, will you be standing in the Red Room tomorrow, and will you be saying, I am going to put pressure on Mr. Bruno and Mr. Silver to follow me and introduce and advocate for this campaign finance bill? Are you going to use your bully pulpit with the editorial boards? Will you go out in this off session and promote this idea of campaign finance reform? Will you go sit with the editorial boards, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? You get the point. And his answer to all of those questions was no. And so we said, well, I am not about to put the credibility of my organization on the line. And Blair was saying, well, there are some good things. We like some of the things in this bill, so we will be willing to stand